Dijonai Carrington or Kennedy Carter or anyone else. Play the game hard and stop going on social media and blaming Caitlin Clark and all of Caitlin Clark's fans for the ills of society in the world.
Let's talk about a moment that has everyone buzzing in the WNBA world. A moment that left fans shocked and outraged.
Caitlin Clark is a minority in the WNBA.
Imagine being on the verge of making history, only to have it all ripped away because of a dirty play.
What's a lesbian look like? Angry. You got the angry African-American lesbian who just can't handle somebody coming into their league as a white girl with a bunch of attention.
Yes, I'm talking about how Dijonai Carrington deliberately poked Caitlin Clark in the eye, leaving her with a black eye that completely changed the course of the game. Not only did this cause Caitlin to lose her focus, but it led to Indiana Fever's brutal elimination. What's worse?
For whatever reason, they decide to get themselves involved, whether it is actually malintent or maybe they just want to get themselves in the headline. A lot of players got the spotlight this season because of Caitlin Clark, not to mention just overall, Caitlin Clark brought millions, literally, more eyeballs to the league this season.
Instead of owning up to what happened, Carrington and others are now trying to turn the tables, calling Caitlin Clark's fans racist. But let's be real. This is nothing but a tactic to cover up the truth. That some players just can't stand to see Caitlin shine as the star of the league.
Carrington, who has a history of not liking Indiana Fever fans and being jealous of Caitlin Clark, calling Indiana Fever fans nasty.
Today, we're going to dive deep into what really happened during that game and expose how the attacks on Caitlin Clark have become more personal than ever before.
Caitlin Clark has taken so much crap from so many types of players this season, pretty much from every team she's faced. Players realize that if they attack Caitlin Clark, their names are too going to be in the headlines.
Make sure you watch to the end, because this story is about more than just a basketball game. It's about a player's rise, the unfair tactics used to bring her down, and a fan base that's being targeted for supporting her. Let's break down exactly what went down during that crucial game.
I was trying to make a play on the ball, and I guess I followed through and I hit her. So obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am.
You know what Caitlin Clark said when she got fouled this hard?
Obviously got me pretty good in the eye. It didn't bother me. Obviously it didn't feel too good when it happened, but it is what it is.
They caught Caitlin Clark in the eye. Ultimately, she ended up getting a black eye out of it.
Your biggest star, your meal ticket, the reason why you have relevancy, just got stabbed and assaulted and nothing.
Caitlin Clark was on fire, leading the Indiana Fever in a must-win situation to keep their playoff hopes alive. She was the key player, the one everyone knew could turn the game around. And then, out of nowhere, Dijonai Carrington made a move that shocked everyone. During a heated moment, she poked Caitlin right in the eye.
It could be dangerous to an opponent to have any kind of jewelry on, and the women of the WNBA are allowed to wear claws?
It wasn't just a graze. It was a direct hit that left Clark with a painful black eye. You could see it instantly. Caitlin's focus was gone, and her performance began to drop. This wasn't just an accidental contact during the game. It was a calculated move.
And this is about Caitlin Clark not crushing her own fans. She's asked about, hey, do you denounce this or that? And she's just like, I'm not paying attention. I'm paid to play basketball, and that's what I'm worried about. A very reasonable response.
Carrington knew what she was doing, and the result, Caitlin's vision and ability to lead her team, were compromised for the rest of the game. Indiana Fever lost that critical match, pushing them to the brink of elimination. Clark's injury wasn't just physical. It impacted her mentally too. She had been dominating up until that point, and it was clear that Carrington's actions played a massive role in the Fever's downfall.
Caitlin Clark is just such a class act. She was incredible, breaking all types of records, and that's something she was certainly proud of. We saw lots of smiles on the court.
Caitlin is the face right now, and that's also good. Like, she's selling out gyms, of course. Like, why would you hate against that?
Now, some may argue it's all part of the game. But let's be honest, when a player is deliberately targeted like that, it crosses the line. Dijonai Carrington succeeded in her mission to take Caitlin Clark out of the game. And as a result, the Fever's season was all but over.
And the first response is not to, oh, hey, are you okay? When she's down on the ground, holding her eye, knowing you just jab someone in the eye.
Offer.
It's to look at the official and plead with the official. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything wrong. Almost as if she knew what she was doing when she did it. No foul was called.
This wasn't just a loss on the scoreboard. It was a calculated takedown of one of the league's brightest stars. But here's the thing. It wasn't just that one brutal moment in the game against Dijonai Carrington. Caitlin Clark has been facing this kind of treatment all season long.
We saw dirty play after dirty play on Caitlin Clark, and still, she just handled every single situation with the highest levels of dignity.
From the moment she entered the WNBA, she's been taking hits, both on and off the court. And you know what's even more shocking? She's kept quiet about it. Why?
Do you know what would happen if she fought back in a real way? Fighting some angry black lesbians, not her job, and it would lead to a collapse of the league.
Because Caitlin understands something most people don't talk about. The league is heavily dominated by black players, and speaking out would only make her a bigger target.
What would you say to the crowd of people that think a hit like that was intentional and maybe even warrants a suspension?
It wasn't intentional by any means. You just watched the play. It wasn't intentional.
Someone who's been kidnapped by the league and is afraid to say it, because if she said what we all saw, that it was intentional, there would be a hit put out on her.
Throughout her rookie season, it wasn't just Dijonai Carrington targeting her. Veterans like Angel Reese, Alyssa Thomas, and even up-and-coming players like Kennedy Carter have all been relentless in trying to knock her down, both physically and verbally.
There are still people who seemingly feel like they just don't want Caitlin to be a part of it. Because with Caitlin comes millions and millions and millions of more eyeballs. And with those millions and millions and millions of more eyeballs, unfortunately, is going to come some people who are not nice.
It's like they can't stand to see her shine. And why? Because she's a young, talented white woman stepping into a league where the support clearly leans toward the black players.
You're the number one pick. People are going to go after you because they see greatness in you. What the WNBA is measuring one type of greatness against the other greatness. Am I saying it's right that she's being pushed in the back? No, that's foul. That has no space in the sport, and we all know that.
The message is simple. Caitlin, stay in your place. Caitlin knew if she spoke out, if she said what everyone's thinking, she'd face even harsher retaliation, more aggressive hits, more dirty plays, and potentially career-threatening injuries. So, she did what many wouldn't be able to do. She took the hits, kept her head down, and kept playing. All this hate and pressure from both veteran and new players, while the league continued to back and support those targeting her, made it clear Caitlin was standing alone.
And she said, "Dog, how can one not be bothered by their name being used to justify racism, bigotry, misogyny, xenophobia, homophobia, and the intersectionalities of them all is nuts. We all see the shit. Silence is a luxury."
But the question we have to ask ourselves is, why? Why is the league allowing this behavior to happen? Why is it okay for players like Angel Reese and Alyssa Thomas to come after her, knowing she's not going to fight back because she's trying to avoid worse injuries or even worse consequences? The league is supporting these black players while letting Caitlin Clark be the punching bag, both figuratively and literally.
She's blaming someone who does not appear to be racist or a bigot or misogynist or any of these things. She is the spokeschild, the spokesperson of racism in America.
Let's be real. The WNBA isn't just standing by while these rivalries happen. No, they're actively promoting it. Think about it. Every time Caitlin Clark takes a hit, every time there's another altercation, the media blows up. People are talking, social media is buzzing, and the league is in the spotlight. The WNBA knows exactly what they're doing by allowing these rivalries to fester, and it's all about business.
This woman, this white girl from Iowa, Caitlin Clark, is the epitome of racism in her eyes. That's what she's saying. And then she gives her a black eye in a game that I think she clearly could have controlled her hand and arm better.
At the end of the day, the WNBA is a company like any other. And companies care about one thing: profits. They don't care who's getting hurt or what the real damage is. They care about the numbers. The TRP ratings are spiking, and that's what matters to them. Rivalries sell tickets, create controversy, and generate buzz.
She needs to be suspended for the rest of this series.
Consent.
If you are dumb enough to go on social media as an athlete in any sport and blame racism on a player, you're out. Why? Because I've got it on record where you're blaming this girl for racism. That's why.
And this drama, it's boosting their viewership. People who might not have even cared about the WNBA before, are suddenly tuning in to see the latest drama unfold.
She is the racist figure that those that are racist are worshiping her. She believes this, and then she pokes her in the eye.
By supporting the hate, the league is essentially fueling the fire. They're letting players like Angel Reese, Alyssa Thomas, and Dijonai Carrington push Caitlin Clark to the edge because it keeps people talking. It's no longer about the sport. It's about the storylines. It's about which player can create the most buzz, the biggest headlines, and the fiercest rivalries. That's what's bringing in the views, the sponsors, and ultimately the money.
No Caitlin Clark now for the WNBA playoffs means what?
Caitlin Clark fans are no longer going to watch the WNBA.
It is bad news for the WNBA that she's not continuing to play.
Caitlin Clark's rivalry with Reese resonated.
Caitlin Clark just had a playoff series like Magic Johnson.
You can see it clear as day now. This isn't just about basketball anymore. The league knows that the tension, the conflict, and the hate are driving up ratings, and they're capitalizing on it. They're not interested in protecting their players or ensuring fair play. They're interested in the spectacle, and as long as the money keeps rolling in, they'll keep feeding the fire, no matter who gets burned in the process. So, when you step back and look at the bigger picture, it's clear what's really going on here. Caitlin Clark, one of the brightest stars in the WNBA, is constantly being targeted, not just by players on the court, but by the league itself. She's been hit, elbowed, and poked in the eye, all while staying quiet because she knows what's at stake.
There's a league with players that feel like they should be getting the attention. Now they have center stage, but the ratings are going to go down. Are they going to be pointing fingers and blaming Indiana Fever fans and Caitlin Clark fans whenever the ratings don't stay the same?
Yeah, they will.
Meanwhile, the league is standing by, not because they're unaware, but because they're profiting from the chaos. This isn't about basketball anymore. It's about business, the rivalries, the drama, the hate. It's all feeding into the league's narrative to boost their ratings and bring in more attention. And as long as that attention translates into profits, they'll keep letting it happen.
Hey, look at the numbers everywhere else across women's basketball. It's not just Caitlin Clark, it's all of us. And then the moment the ratings tank, they're going to come back and say, see, we were right all along. It's all the racists that follow Caitlin Clark that were watching the product, and now they're gone, and we're back with our diehards. It is bad news for the WNBA that she's not continuing to play.
Caitlin Clark may be the victim in this, but she's also the center of a storm that's making the WNBA more talked about than ever before. But at what cost? How long can the league continue to prioritize money over the safety and fairness of the game? And how long can Caitlin stay quiet while the system around her keeps pushing her down? These are the questions we need to be asking as we move forward. And until we get some real answers, this drama is far from over. Thanks for watching, and if you're as passionate about the truth as we are, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more deep dives like this one. We're just getting started.
I was wrong about the impact that Caitlin Clark was going to have on the WNBA. I did not think it was possible that one player could come in and basically quadruple the ratings. Caitlin Clark, in terms of pro team sports impact, is the single most influential athlete that I have ever seen in my life.
Caitlin Clark, 25.6 rebounds, 9 assists. The last rookie in NBA, WNBA playoff history to reach these numbers was Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was great. He could do everything. Caitlin Clark just had a playoff series like Magic Johnson did way back in his rookie year.
Her game resonates with people in basketball and across the country because she's got that edge. She plays with a flair, but she's got that edge. The hands go up.
It was such a bittersweet end to a phenomenal rookie season that Caitlin Clark had. And it honestly got me to just reflecting on this season. And it sucks that so much of it was riddled with so much drama and so much negativity and so many mishaps that the WNBA had throughout the entire season.
Her first playoff game, drawing 1.84 million viewers. Ridiculous numbers. Caitlin Clark came in and made such an impact on how many people started to care about the WNBA. This was the highest viewed season in the history of the league.
The Fever averaged 4,066 in attendance last year. This year, 17 17,035. The Pacers averaged 15,600 last year. This year, 16,528. They beat the Pacers. Fever's average attendance higher than 5 NBA teams. If you asked anybody, would you ever see a day where the Indiana Fever outdrew the Pacers, they would laugh at you. This is the effect of Caitlin Clark.